Boston Celtics get a 2-point win in Minnesota. Tough, ugly slog of a game. I'll tell you why. That's the exact game they needed, even though it's not the type of game we wanted. And can we fix this fourth quarter execution once and for all? End of quarters have been a problem. Talk about that right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Be ever ready. Recognize the city of champs. Boston, baby, we do what you can't. Locked on number 18, Tatum and Brown, J-team, step back. We gon' wet that and slay teams. Of course, the Celtics, who else could it be? Screaming like KG with the Larry O.B. Karalis above average, assessing the team status. Best daily pod, no cap, salary matching. Clutch like Bird the DJ, keep John on replay. Prime time, dapping up the truth on the sideline. Raining J's, how it started, raising banners, how we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners. B.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day. And I'm here for you every day with a free, fresh podcast dropped directly to your device if you're a subscriber. So pick out whichever app you use, whatever one you want, it's there. This podcast exists everywhere. So subscribe, watch the show on YouTube, hop onto that YouTube channel, get into the comment section, start some threads, have some fun there, ring the bell, get notified when I drop new videos. I'm John Karalis. I cover the Celtics for Boston Sports Journal. I used to play once upon a time, a long time ago. I wrote a book called Boston Celtics All-Time All-Stars. Check that out at johnkaralis.com if you want a signed copy. Today, the Celtics get the 104-102 win over the Minnesota Timberwolves, which I got to say, I'm looking at this. Oh, God, what a brutal ending to this game. For those of you who download the FanDuel app, and Massachusetts, it's legal now in Massachusetts. And you say, all right, yeah, I talk about the FanDuel app all the time. And you say, all right, John, I'll do that. Let me Celtics minus 4.5. I'll take that. I think they can win this game by 5. And they were winning this game by 5. And then Mike Conley hits a meaningless 3 at the end to crush the hopes and dreams of everybody who bet on the Celtics minus 4.5. That's why I keep saying, please gamble responsibly. You never know what's going to happen. Hey, today's show brought to you by the Ultimate Basketball GM. If you've ever wanted to become an NBA GM and manage your own basketball franchise, then this is the game for you. Download it at ultimatebasketballgm.com or look it up on the app stores. You get a 100% free boost to your franchise when you use the promo code Locked On. That's all caps in the game. Later on, I'll do my usual individual performances, talk about Jaylen, who's just been great over the last couple of games. Some of the things that he said about this stretch, which I found interesting. Down performance, I think, up and down for Jayson Tatum. We'll talk about that later. In the second segment, we'll get into the late quarter, the late game execution. I'm so sick of it. I'm just sick of it. And I know I just did the whole where, we should just get used to these guys. This is how they play. But I just can't get past some of this stuff. So I'll talk about that in the second segment. Let's talk big picture. Let's talk big picture here in this game. In the middle of the fourth quarter, it was during one of Naz Reid's drives. He had such a good game off the bench for Minnesota. And one of those, I would just said to myself, I kind of smiled and I said, you know what? I think I've been thinking about this all wrong. This game, this ugly mess of a game where the Celtics struggled to close out quarters, kind of lucked into a couple of things. The officials, hey, I know people love to complain about the refs. We do have to acknowledge that Grant Williams got away with stealing that tip. You could say he got fouled on the previous play, and maybe that was just kind of a little retribution. And whatever it is, the Celtics did get some favorable whistles in this game. But this type of fight is exactly what the Celtics need. And I came into it thinking, like, the Celtics should – I would love to see the Celtics just come in, march 20-point lead in the first quarter, build it up to 30 in the second quarter, hold on to that through the third quarter and rest in the fourth. I've been saying that, and in watching this game, I said, you know what? This is not – that's not the right way to go. This game against Minnesota, this stupid kind of fight, this kind of like infuriating type of game, that's the type of game they need to play. And they need to keep playing these games until they get it right. And I compared it on Boston Sports Journal to the scene in Miracle, where you line them up on the goal line and you say, hey, you don't want to work during the games? We're going to work after the games. And you just send them again. You don't want to play well from start to finish? All right, here's another game that you're going to have to fight, and nearly choke it away in the fourth quarter and figure it out. I don't want to see another Portland game. I don't want to see another team lay down. Portland coming up, Utah coming up. Go at them. Try to kill the Celtics. The Celtics need to keep playing these games. You want to play like this? All right, here you go. Here's another tough opponent with talent that's going to come out there and make life hard on you. You want to think you can skate by? No problem. Here comes another fourth quarter comeback. Figure it out. And I just want to keep seeing them go through it until they get so sick of it that they kind of acquiesce. At some point, these kinds of games are just going to drive these guys crazy. And they're just going to have to look around and say, you know what? Why are we killing ourselves? Why are we killing ourselves with these opponents? Why are we Anthony Edwards is a special player. So him going off for 28, which it even feels a little bit low that he only finished with 28 because he was on fire. But Anthony Edwards is a special player. But why are you letting Kyle Anderson sneak in for those offensive rebounds? Why are you giving up 15 points to Rudy Gobert? You know, what are you doing? Why are we giving up these timely offensive rebounds? Why are we giving up these late runs instead of putting teams away? Constantly making these little mistakes that all of a sudden you have a 10-point lead, you have a chance to make it a 12-point lead or whatever. And, oh, nope, we didn't. And now you give up 6 points on the other end, and here it is. It's a tight game again. Just keep hitting the Celtics with this stuff. Keep throwing this stuff at them. And either they're going to figure out exactly how to close these games and figure out, and I'll talk about that in the next segment again, figure out how to kind of manage these end of quarters, or they're going to decide, it's really three scenarios. That one. Number two, they're going to decide, hey, I'm so sick of having these fourth quarter tight games. Let's just, hey, everybody, can we get together and just say, we're going to start from the jump and we're going to execute better. And it's not about hot shooting. It's about going and just executing from the beginning and playing good basketball. Maybe they'll decide that. That's number two. Or number three, they'll be broken. It'll fall apart. And if it falls apart, it's not something that I'm rooting for, but if that's where they end up, then at least we know that this team isn't willing to do this level of hard work, because Jaylen did say after the game, he talked about guys are injured. I'll read the quote. He said, guys are injured mentally. Sometimes it's hard to get up for games, but you got to make sure you come in every night with a consistent effort. Guys are injured. We know that. Smart is just not 100%. He's not 100%. And I want to say, if you're not 100%, then sit. You shouldn't have come back when you did. Sit. Why did you come back a game before the All-Star break? If you're not 100%, why did you do that? Take that one blows my mind, man. That one blows my mind. Why did Marcus Smart come back for that one game and then take that week? Anyway, guys, he says it's hard to get up for games. Mentally, sometimes it's hard to get up for games. Again, I understand that. I understand that as well. But now this isn't even about the opponents. This is about getting yourselves right. So if it's hard to get up for games and it's going to be a fight, then maybe you should start getting up for games. I say the more they can just get beaten down the better for me right now. The more you can just have that, all right, you got to go into Portland. It's going to be a tough fight. You got to go into Utah. It's going to be a tough fight. Because I say either they're going to say, okay, you know what? We're done. We blew it. Chalk it up, which I doubt. It's like the absolute extreme worst case scenario. I expect them to be like, you know what? We're done with this. We're going to start turning it on. I got to come in and be better. Somebody's going to refocus. Whether you need a game off, you need something to refocus. I think each one of these tough fourth quarter battles, a game like this against Minnesota, it's good for them. It's going to get them to a place they need to be mentally. Sometimes you need to have that beaten into you. Fourth quarter execution. Oh, God. Oh, God. I'm done with this. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. First, today's show brought to you by Ultimate Pro Basketball GM. New partner, new sponsor. And if you've ever dreamed of running your own team, your dream has come true with this game. Every strategic aspect of the game is under your control. Hiring the right coaches and assistants, trading and training your players, making your draft picks, navigating your franchise through free agency and the draft and the ups and the downs and the arena. You've got to take care of all of that stuff. It's really immersive. All of this in a real challenging and realistic game world. Ultimate Pro Basketball GM is completely free. It's playable offline. So even if you're in a place without a connection, then you can still play this game. And you're going to want to play this game because you can, like I said, you can run through year after year and trying to trade for guys and sign guys and get the most out of these guys and get the right coach and all of that. It's fun. You can play in the go, play as you want to. Locked On Celtics listeners, you get a 100% free boost to your franchise when you use the promo code Locked On in the game store. So make sure you check it out. To download the game, you go to probasketballgm.com. You scan the code there. If you're watching on YouTube, scan the code down here. Or you can just go look it up in the app store. That's probasketballgm.com. The ultimate basketball GM. Start your dynasty today. Hey, thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Head on over to the Locked On NBA feed. Check out two great podcasts there. Locked On Game to Game, where you get local hosts' take on the games. You get caught up on the night in the NBA, specifically the nitty-gritty of what happened in each game. Locked On NBA, which I host on Wednesdays with Jake Madison of Locked On Pelicans, is going to be the big picture, what each night in the NBA means in the big picture, all the big stories that have been happening. So some perspective on that. Check those out where you get your podcasts. Fourth quarter execution, once again. In fact, late quarter execution, I should say, in general, lacking. And this is a big priority for Joe Mazzulla. And it, once again, was problematic. Celtics in the second quarter were up 10 at one point. They ended up the quarter up 1. They were up 14 in the third. They ended up 6. They were up 9 in the fourth, and they ended up winning by 2. Okay, the fourth quarter, it's more of a 5-point game, but still, they had opportunities, make this kind of choose your own adventure. And when you're up 10 in the second quarter, you don't want to go into the half only up 1, obviously, right? But the late quarter execution has been just terrible. I don't know why they fell apart in the late quarters. The fourth quarter is a completely, like, I don't know, enhanced. I don't want to say different animal, but this end of game stuff, the Celtics play too fast. They don't play fast like the good fast with pace. They try to do too much on their own. And in a game like this, where I think Minnesota was being really aggressive defensively, where were the backdoor cuts? Where were the slip screens? Where were the things that a team will do to take advantage of aggressive defense? I think the Celtics, they don't even run a pick and roll. They barely run anything a lot of times in this fourth quarter. And it just becomes my turn, your turn type of stuff. And it's not even a good my turn, your turn. Jayson Tatum had a 3-pointer against Rudy Gobert with 48 seconds left in the game with the Celtics up 2. He ends up, they try to get Rudy Gobert on him. And you know what's going to happen when Tatum is matched up against Rudy Gobert. He's going to try to get him on skates. He's going to try to dribble. I'm going to go at you, but it's always going to be a step back 3. It's always going to be a step back 3. Doesn't matter. All he's trying to do is make Gobert kind of get off balance so he's going one direction so Tatum can step back and get into the shot that he wants to take. Except that Tatum was 0 for 8 from 3 in this game. 0 for 8 from 3. And that shot that he took, that fourth quarter shot, was so egregiously bad, especially because he had Jaylen Brown wide open. I put this on Boston Sports Journal. Jaylen Brown, in fact, no, it's so egregious. And I feel like we're at a point now where Tatum gets tunnel vision because his shot's not falling. And he feels like he needs to be the closer. Jaylen Brown had 15 points in the fourth quarter, but he scored his 15th point with 6 minutes to go. Didn't get another basket after that. But when Jaylen gets the ball, because he doesn't get the ball earlier in the game or earlier in the quarter or later, because he's not getting the ball down the stretch, when the ball does actually find him, he's not giving it up. And then he tries to do too much. So one guy makes a mistake, and then Jaylen makes a mistake, and that ends up being a turnover, like an offensive foul. And it's just that over and over again. And I'm just dying for one of these games, and this is why in the first segment I was like, come on, keep doing this. I want the fourth quarter in Portland to go exactly like this. So maybe Tatum in this situation can say, hey, I'm going to go screen for Jaylen Brown. Maybe we can work something together. Maybe we can get a play where I'm cutting. I'm going to make a sacrificial cut. And I'm going to go to the opposite corner and take a defender with me and give Jaylen some room to work. Something in this situation that acknowledges I don't have it. This play, this isolation stuff is not going to work. Now, luckily, Marcus Smart got past his defender a couple of times, gets the floater, gets the and one, gets a layup. Tough shots. And held off the Timberwolves. But this fourth quarter execution is just awful, horrible. And I'm just tired of it. They won this game, and I'm glad they won this game. But Joe Mazzulla, after the game, said that here's the quote: just because we won the game doesn't mean that I feel that much better. I thought we fouled too much in the third quarter. We gave up some timely offensive rebounds. And so I thought our physicality and competitive nature was at about a 10. We just have to continue to execute the margins in clutch situations. We won most of them tonight, out shooting them at the free throw line, turnovers, offensive rebounds. We just have to have timely execution in those margins. So I like the beginning of that. Just because we won doesn't mean I feel that much better. It's the same with me. It's the same with me. I'm glad that they found a way to win. I'm glad about that. I'm not glad that the main guys down the stretch continue to fall into this rut, this whatever thing that they're in. Because these guys are so much better when they work off of one another. I don't understand why Like, Jayson Tatum plays for the Boston freaking Celtics, the deepest team in the league, or one of the deepest teams in the league. He plays next to Jaylen Brown, a guy that people are talking about as an all-NBA candidate. He plays next to Malcolm Brogdon. He plays next to Marcus Smart. He plays next to Al Horford. He's not playing next to scrubs. He's not playing next to guys on a team that's built to tank. He's not playing next to 22-year-olds, 21-year-olds, 20-year-olds. He's playing next to awesome basketball players. So there's no need for him to play like this down the stretch. But honestly, I think that Tatum is so off. His shooting is so off. He's down at like 35% after this game. He's almost a full percentage below league average shooting from three this year, after shooting below league average last year. Now, he got hot in the second half of the season, and that propelled him, but his shooting was so bad earlier in the season that he ended up shooting below league average last year. That was ultimately where he landed. This year, it's been a constant throughout the season. He's shooting 35% from three. The league average is 36. He's so off that I think he's just kind of gunning for his own shot, and it's not working. He just needs to let it go. And Jaylen Brown needs to let it go. When he gets the ball in these situations, don't try to do too much. It just needs to be a constant, let's all get the touches together. Let's all get the touches. Let's all work the ball around. I mean, I'm repeating myself because it's so frustrating to watch them do this over and over and over again. Individual performances. Talk about that when I come back. First, today's show brought to you by Built Bar. And you know what? It's Built March Madness here. The brackets are in. We know you've got a favorite bar or puff, and now's your time to make it count. So go to BuiltMarchMadness.com to vote for your favorites. Round one voting right now is tough. I have had a hard time choosing between peanut butter brownie, the salted caramel, or the double chocolate. Those are all really good choices. I think I'm going to go salted caramel, actually. That one's actually really good. I know I said double chocolate last time, but I'm changing my pick because I haven't voted yet. But you should be voting at BuiltMarchMadness.com. When you vote for your favorite bar or puff, you'll be entered into a drawing where 50 lucky Locked On listeners will get a free box of Built. Not only that, one Locked On fan will get a 12-month subscription to Built to have Built's best bars or puffs delivered monthly straight to your door. You got to try Built. Built is the best protein bar ever. Seriously, very awesome, amazing. I love them. I buy them with my own money. What makes Built bars and puffs so good is that they're all high protein, low sugar, covered in 100% chocolate, real chocolate. So check them out and run to BuiltMarchMadness.com. I almost made it through. Right now, vote for your favorite bar or puff. Pick up a box while you're there. You can vote every day in March, so hop on and support your pick. Today's show also brought to you by FanDuel. Again, the FanDuel listeners, FanDuel new subscribers. If this was your first bet, then you are so happy to have the no sweat first bet on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. If your first bet doesn't win, your no sweat first bet gets you up to $1,000 in bonus bets. So download that FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, super easy to use. Money, when you win, gets directly into your account within a couple of hours. So you can bet on everything from the money line to point scorers to three-pointers drained. You can get a bigger payout with the same game parlay. Don't miss your chance at that no sweat first bet. If you haven't signed up, I think, like I said earlier, tonight's a great example of why the no sweat first bet is key on FanDuel. Sometimes that first one doesn't pay off. That gets you up to $1,000 in bonus bets when you go to FanDuel.com/lockedon. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon to learn more. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook betting partner of the NBA. You know what I'm going to say here. Tonight's game proved it. Please gamble responsibly. Some great individual performances here from Jaylen Brown, not Jayson Tatum. Jaylen Brown had a another really great night. 35 points, 12 of 24 shooting, 5 of 8 from 3, 6 of 8 from the line, 10 rebounds. He had 1 assist and a steal. Jaylen came out just firing. I feel like the last couple of games, he's been the only guy that's just been completely locked in, playing well on both ends of the floor. I feel like they need to play through Jaylen Brown a little bit more. I think Tatum especially needs to understand on some of these nights when Jaylen's got it going, just lean into it. Lean into it. You don't have it going. Fine. Let Jaylen cook. Just get Jaylen the ball. If we're just gonna go ISO, then at least get the guy who's hot the ball. 15 points in the fourth quarter. I thought, just generally a really good game from Jaylen Brown. I thought Malcolm Brogdon was great off the bench. 12 points, 4 of 9 shooting. Some real clutch moments. Getting to the rim at will. Let's talk a little bit about Jayson Tatum's game. I should bounce back to him. 22 points, 14 of 16 at the free throw line. The Tatum that attacked, that dude was awesome. When Tatum was getting to the rim, that dude was amazing. And I hope he's okay after that fall. He had that dunk on Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert, no one likes him in the league. No one likes him in the league. And you get to see why in this game. He goes to block Jayson Tatum, and he's reckless. It's just reckless. He knocks Tatum to the ground. He turns the corner on a pick on Jaylen Brown, elbows Jaylen Brown in the face. He gets a dunk on Derek White, and on the follow through, he kind of like kicks Derek White in the chest, and he ends up getting the technical foul for I don't know if it was the kick or the flex or what, but he's a menace. He's just a menace. He might be the most unpopular player in the league. And there are 3 Celtics with reasons to complain about Rudy Gobert. At least, and I'm probably missing a couple. But when Tatum was attacking and getting to the rim, that's beautiful. He had one play where I highlighted it on Twitter where they were spread 5 out, and he set a pick, and he kind of made a jab step to the rim, and then he pulled back behind the 3-point line. I was like, the whole lane is open. Why didn't you cut? And luckily, I don't know if they told him about it or he recognized in the moment, like, geez, I kind of blew it. I had an opportunity to get to the rim. The next few trips down the floor, he was actually back cutting and getting to the rim. That Jayson Tatum is unstoppable. That guy is awesome. Why he relies on the 3-pointer so much is beyond me, because it seems like the more volume he takes, the worse the shot gets. Just get to the rim, get to the line, just make it easier. If he cuts 2 3-pointers out of his mix, he gets down to 7 3-pointers a game. Now, if he stays shooting the 9 and shoots at this percentage, it's the same as him taking those 2 3-pointers out, turning them into 2-pointers, and hitting at the current 2-pointer rate, which is 54% or something like that. He's still at the same exact scoring. But when you drive and you take those 2 3-pointers and turn them into 2-pointers, chances are you're driving to the rim, you're getting yourself to the line more often, you're getting an opportunity of and ones, so that doesn't even actually count as a shot attempt, so you can keep going. You can get your team into the bonus. There's just so much more that you can do that's positive. by driving. And yet he continues to insist on settling for some of these shots. Now, some of them are good. Some of them are good three-pointers, but we can tell the difference. We know what the difference is. Marcus Smart, I thought he was a plus. Now, he didn't shoot well, 4 of 12 overall, 0 for 5 from 3. Take those 5 out, that's 7, so he's 4 of 7 from 2. That's pretty good. He had the 2 clutch baskets in the fourth quarter with a few minutes left, like about 3 minutes left. The Timberwolves were coming through with a run that cut the lead down to 2, and his 2 baskets plus the free throw, which he missed, those helped keep the lead at about 4. That to me was the turning point in the game where Smart was able to hold off that charge. And then they kind of got into a little bit of back and forth, and that's kind of when the Grant Williams play happened. But I thought Smart overall, he had some really good defensive plays. Thought he really was at a pretty high defensive level in this game. I know some of you are going to disagree, but I thought aside from the shooting, which I'll address that, the catch and shoot threes, all of these threes for the most part were drives, kicks, catch and shoots, which, hey, if you're going to shoot threes, if you're Marcus Smart, the catch and shoot threes are the ones you want to get. He needs to take at least a few of those. They're wide open, and he just needs to knock those down. He needs to be able, I know he's not a great three-point shooter. We all know that. But when the ball gets to the paint and it kicks out and you're wide open, that's warm-up level threes. You got to make some of those. So he didn't. Okay. In the earlier part of the season, he was passing up some of those threes. Of the 5 that he took in this game, I'd say he might have taken 2, 3, maybe earlier in the season. Now he's taking all 5. Earlier in the season, he would fake or just drive. He would say, you can see him loading up and he go, nope, I'm going to drive it, get back into the paint and try to collapse the defense again and kick it out. I'd love to see him get back to that, because the drive and kick, secondary attack, drive, kick, you're going to find a better shooter. You just got to understand, I'm going to find a better shooter. But I think that he's listening to Joe Mazzulla. And Joe Mazzulla says, when you pass up an open shot, bad things happen. So don't pass up the open shots. Take the open shots, because that's what the offense is geared towards. If the open shot is a 3, you take it. And I think Marcus Smart's following the coach's advice. I honestly think that that's the case, because earlier this season, he was passing these up. This is a different kind of mentality for Marcus Smart. He did have 5 assists, and I think he probably has a ton more potential assists, because the Celtics shot 40.5%. They were 34 of 84 in this game. They shot 30% from 3, 12 for 40. That's just not good. They couldn't hit anything. Neither team could hit anything. I mean, the Timberwolves shot 33% from 3, 12 of 36. They were 44% overall. They didn't shoot well. You can make an argument that if either team had hit more, just a normal amount of shots, then, the Celtics could have won more comfortably, or Minnesota had plenty of chances to win this game. But anyway, I think Smart could have had more assists if they hit just a few more of those shots. His potential assists are going to be pretty high. But I think that he's following his coach's advice. And I think for Smart, it's better to just attack again. Grant Williams played in this game 26 minutes. He didn't have a good game. He just didn't. Still hesitant. Still making some poor decisions. Early in the game, he helped off of Anthony Edwards, and that turned into a three-pointer. Just, they need him to play better. I'm glad that he got this time. Give him that time again in Portland. Give him that time again against Utah. You got to see Grant Williams get out there. But to Grant's credit, he was in there. He got clutch offensive rebound. Everybody was trying to call a timeout. The referees were not really great in this game, although they did benefit the Celtics for the most part. So I'll just accept it. So, but great plays by Grant Williams. Great rebound there. The stealing of the tip that against Gobert. Not exactly legal, but he did it and they didn't call it. And it ended up getting, let's see, Kyle Anderson and who else? Oh, Anthony Edwards got tossed. They said Anthony Edwards questioned the integrity of the referees, which basically said you guys are cheating. And then I keep getting all these guys confused of who got tossed. Kyle Anderson got tossed. He wouldn't stop swearing at the officials. So that's why he got tossed. Overall, look, the Celtics won. I thought the Celtics didn't play their best, but they grinded out a win. It was not it was not pretty. It was ugly. But like I said in the first segment, bring it on. More ugly games. These guys got to figure it out. They've got to figure it out. And if they're going to, this is a poorly timed, it's not great, but if this is where they're going to be, then let's do it. You got 12 games left now. Let's just do it. Make them all tough and get these guys to figure this out. Because if the shots start to fall, but they've got this tough mentality, then they'll be fine. They will be fine. This is not the end of the world. It's not great. Like I said, the timing sucks, but it's not the end of the world. They can pull out of this. Unfortunately, they're probably going to be the 2 seed now. Talk about that. We'll talk more Jaylen Brown tomorrow. I'll get Tom Westerholm back on. We'll have some fun on the Friday podcast. Again, I said this yesterday. Because the late 10 p.m. starts, I am on the East Coast. I'm not with the team out West. So I will be podcasting very, very late if I were to do one. I'm not going to do it on a Friday or a Saturday night. I'm sorry. That's no bonus podcasts Friday or Saturday. I will do one on Sunday. So that's when I'll get everything, unless something incredibly outrageous happens, then I'll try to record something on, during the day. But for now, the plan is both games, Friday, Saturday, will be covered. On Sunday, I will try to release the podcast early on Sunday so we can get everything there. That's the plan. It's because of the time difference, time zones and whatnot. So subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you are subscribed on any app or on YouTube or both. That'd be great. And share the podcast. I'd love to hear you share it. Tell your friends. Tell everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.